Morning, you're all keen. Okay, good morning everybody and welcome to the 2019 AIPP Epson New South Wales and ACT Professional Photography Awards, the landscape categories, proudly sponsored by Fuji, great sponsors of the AIPP. So let's get out there and support them the same as they support us. My name is David Patterson and I'll be your panel chair for the day, and my assistant here is Greg Farmer. And to go through our list of judges, we have David Glazebrook, Robin Campbell, Anna Blackman, David Oliver, and Krish Bujna. And who else have we got in here? Wayne Gibson and Scott Portelli. Thank you, Scott. We got Katie over there. Heath Wade. Thank you, Heath. Bruce. Good old Bruce Pottinger. And Matthew Vasilisic. I got it right yesterday. First time I got it right, and I'll never get it right again. Vasilescu. We won't go there. Thank you, Heath. Anyway, without any further ado, I'm going to read out the preamble for the category. This category is intended for landscape images that depict the natural or urban environment. Entries may be literal or interpretive. Judges in this category are asked to consider both traditional and contemporary values, photographic technique, print quality, composition, and light. The landscape category will be judged in 3 sections: landscape open, landscape single capture, and landscape aerial. The category is judged in 3 sections to assist the judges in their assessment. However, there is only the one award. Entries into this category may be commissioned or self-commissioned. Photographs must depict or imply the natural or human/urban environment. Polytitches, diptychs, triptychs, etc. are permitted in all 3 sections. Landscape open. Entrants may utilise all post-production techniques, including multiple images or elements, in producing their entry. Landscape single capture. This section is intended to reward technical and creative excellence in photographing and presenting an authentic representation of a scene, without the benefit of creative composition techniques. Landscape aerial. Entrants may utilise all post-production techniques, including multiple images or elements, in producing their entry. All aerial landscape images must be entered in this section for judging. Aerial images are considered to be taken from, but not limited to, the following: AUV drone, fixed wing aircraft, helicopter, hot air balloon. Are there any questions? The first category we will be judging is landscape open. Now just hold on a moment. Okay, that's all good. Everyone ready? Eyes fixed forward. I'm going to press our start judging button. Our first image, please. And we have a score of 76. We accept that score, but I'd like a comment. Can one of the judges like to say how this print could perhaps achieve a silver award? Thank you, Anna.
The print has a beautiful colour palette. I think the problem for me is we need something to keep coming back to, something that's a point of focus, and you just wander around. So if you, as an open category, you could put something in that is, the main subject matter that's more dynamic.
Great, thank you. Next print, please. And we have a score of 79. So 79, that's right on the cusp. We have to accept that score. And again, Robin, how could this maybe achieve a higher score?
Yeah, beautiful autumn palette to the image and lovely symmetry. Perhaps a different time of day, just a specular highlight or something magical to come out through that, so we've got some beautiful highlights would lift it to that next level.
Yeah, one of the first things I noticed in the foreground were repetitions. And if you look at the lower area, and that can be cleaned up very easily in the foreground.
Thank you, judges. Next print, please. And the printer scored 81, a silver award. Comment? Thank you, Chris.
It's a striking image. My only comment will be I'd love to see it printed on matte paper, and I think it just would improve the overall appearance.
No other comment. We'll move on. Thank you. Next print, please. And the print scores 78. And yep, very consistent. Both of you. Yeah. David, you go first.
Since this came round, I'm thinking, wow, I want to be there. It looks so cool. But the picture's right in the middle, and that road in the foreground looks as though it's been the photographer's trying to hide it with the vignette instead of maybe just cropping, taking it out altogether.
Yeah, well, all the judges run 77, 78, so very consistent. Thank you. Next print, please. And the print scores 78. So if there's no challenge, I will accept that score. Thank you, Mr. Oliver. On 83.
Yeah, look, it's just a nice sort of soft, interesting, quiet picture. Duplications work really well. Interesting time of the day to capture this. You've got that depth of the foreground, and which takes you on the journey to the background and the softness of the mountain. So I just thought this one got over the line. But I think we just need one more to come with us, maybe. So that's why I thought it would be worth discussing.
Okay, Mr. Glazebrook.
Yeah, David, I felt that similar serene feeling that you were speaking about there, but I felt on the bottom left-hand corner, there's a certain muddiness to the print. Now, whether that's actually some fogging or something that's happening down there, it was a bit muddy there. And then I'm trying to go back and justify how this whole sort of scene fits together. Looking for an element that just gives me a bit more storytelling, a bit more narrative, something to sort of hang on to.
Anna, you're on 80.
Part of the brilliance of this, I think, is because you don't know what's about to happen. It's a calm before the storm. We're waiting for all the energy of the people to come into landscape, because I feel like it's a sunrise, just before sunrise. And so as it's got this Asian feel, you know that over there's, Mekong River, whatever it might be, suddenly there'll be 1 billion people on there and it'll be just crazy. And this is just before that. This is the potential energy before it goes kinetic. So for me, I think that really works. That's why I gave it a silver.
No other comment? I'll go back to you, David. Okay, let's read the score. Thank you. And the print scores 80, a silver award. Well done, judges. Next print, please. And we have a score of 75. Yes, thank you very much.
So 2 things I'd pay attention to straight away is the highlights right in the top of the print, level horizon. One more thing, maybe the main centre of focus, this tree could be a little bit further into the frame. It's sort of a bit close to the left-hand side.
And Chris.
Just a quick comment. I like to see this image cropped a bit more panoramic. You can lose the bottom third, I'd say.
Great, thank you, judges. Next print, please. And the print scores 78. And we've got 78, 78, 78, 78, 79. So very consistent there. Anna, please, a comment?
What a wonderful place to shoot. But really shooting this with a different light, not in the middle of the day, late afternoon, early morning, depending on which way it faces, would just do so much for it.
Okay. Waste of money on a phase 1 there. Next print, please. And we have a score of 81, Silver Award. And how could this be improved? Thank you, David.
I really enjoyed the foreboding nature of the storm, the heavy weightedness of the sky. It's almost all about that sky and about what's pending because it's hemmed by rain either side. I feel the left-hand side vignette is a little bit heavy, perhaps either cropping in or pull back a little bit on the vignette to actually let that sky sort of do more brooding, so to speak.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Next print, please. And the print scores 82, Silver Award. However, we're going to accept a challenge from David Glazebrook on 87.
Thank you, David. This piece has a real illustrative quality about it. The post-production choices that the photographer has made here has really given it a real sort of a sketch-like feel about it, but it's accurately drawn, so maybe even an architectural drawing. I really enjoyed the attention to detail that the photographer has given us here. When you look closely at the crop of the buildings on the left-hand side and the inclusion, it fits really comfortably in this frame. And so I see some superior skill sets sort of brought forward. I love the play of light across our main subject sitting across here on the right-hand side with the right face lit and the left-hand side of this building laying in shadow. So it gives us some really nice contrast to sort of play around in here, and it's quite a delightful colour palette.
I must admit, I totally agree. Looks really nice from where I'm sitting. Okay, next print, please. Oh, sorry. Okay. That's all right. And we will go to Anna. You're on 78.
I'm seeing a very capable print here, but not really seeing what you're seeing. So I really, rather than, be negative, I'd like to hear more of the positive.
Okay, everyone's really keen on this, so I can see why. But Robin, ladies first.
David, I'm with you. There's a classical elegance to this image that's really quite unusual, and the way that the structures are formed, the foreground, midground, background, you journey through it, but in a really delicate, elegant way, which isn't always the case in architecture. I think the thing that held me down from the silver distinction, because that's where I was initially, was I was looking for that pop of colour. But then when you take it back to the concept of the sketching and the pastel tones and so forth that are entirely intentional, it does bring you into that realm of creating an elegant architecture piece, which I think is the direction that the photographer's looking at.
David and then Chris.
Yeah, the one thing that held me back from going high with this picture, because I'm excited as well, great buildings, great lighting, was the haloing around the building with the sky. It looks as though it's been held back. There's no consistency there in the sky going across, and I felt, I'd just like to have seen that consistency of blue. And it looks as though it's been held back, and I thought, that brought me down.
And Chris?
Look, I'm right up there in the distinction already. Look, the composition really kind of complements the structures, and overall it just has a great feeling, as was already mentioned. It reminds me like a 1950s type architectural drawing, and hence the pastels. I think the color toning on the palette was more subdued back then. So I think it's perfectly executed, and I kind of like how there's a depth in the foreground, and the buildings in the back, they're still sharp, but they're just pale enough and soft enough that don't detract from the main subject. So I think composition is perfect and really well executed.
David, bring it home.
Okay, so 3 things that I heard that may need addressing. We're looking for a pop of colour. If you go up on the foreshore and have a look there, there's a little splash of pink that runs right on. It's quite hot pink. And then right in the middle, next to the left-hand building, there's a little orange air duct that pops out there as well. So it's really subtle. It doesn't have to be garish. It's just been handled really delicately. The haloing that you refer to around the building, when I looked at the building here on the right-hand side, to me I'm thinking, well, the other side of this, the other facade of this building, it probably creates like a triangular-like structure, and being side-lit coming around here, it's hitting that back face there as well, so it could be causing a bit of flare or something like that that's sort of coming off there, giving us a natural halo. So that's the sort of the two major points that I heard, and I think if they're addressed, I can see this sitting solidly and so with distinction.
Thank you, judges. Currently, the print is on 82. Let's have a rescore. And we have a score of 86, silver with distinction. Thank you, judges. Great discussion. Next print, please. And we have a score of 78. Thank you, David. A challenge on 83.
So for me, it was actually, it's funny, while we're judging the print and what we see here, it's almost what I'm judging what's not there. When we sit here and we and turn around, I saw this structure that sits in the top of the frame. It's almost, oh, it's an odd-shaped sort of cloud, or what is that? And it's not until I got up to the print that I noticed that this is actually a huge mountain face that's there, that's coming out of the fog. And so it almost says to me, it speaks about how small these trees are in the foreground, and we've got this sort of juxtaposition between large and small. And so I find the mountain behind, the fogged out part, actually the hero of the image. This is the real strength of the image. This is towering. It's almost standing over the top, really imposing itself upon these small trees here. And I thought that little play of the contrast of the warm grass against the cool water that sits just here on the left hand side, couple little triangles sort of playing there, which is quite nice geometrically defined in here. Popped it into a silver for me.
Okay, you're out on a little bit on a limb, but let's have a go. Chris, you're on 75.
There's a certain, I would almost say, confusion in the image. I'm not sure whether to focus on the trees, on the mountaintop. My eyes keep going back and forth, and it just doesn't have a certain impact. I don't want to say, wow, there's like the vastness to it, but at the same time, it doesn't really give me that sort of sense of what should I be looking at. And also, there's a bit of unsharpness in the foreground. It's just not quite crisp enough. The crop could probably be improved as well. The crop is a bit in between. It's not really landscape. It's not really elongating. It's not really complementing the subject matter.
Thank you, Chris. And David Oliver.
I think there's just too many elements in this picture, because taken from a lower angle, it would just been those two lone trees against that mountain range. We've got this triangle of water coming in from the left that doesn't need to be there. We've got a foreground of some kind of track that doesn't need to be there. So the beautiful lighting just before the trees and the mountain range was all we needed, and I feel that maybe that might still be there. You know, there might be another frame, and I think that would have then made that, for me, like pop and silver award.
Excellent. Enough to work with?
Yeah, certainly, thanks. Okay, so the confusion that Chris was talking about the separation between the foreground or midground and background, I think the trees actually connect the two, sort of, it brings them together. It gives us a pathway to sort of cross over rather than isolating the elements. And as I said, David, the water in it for me was the contrast of the warmth and the cool. And so in trying to sort of layer a little bit of storytelling in it, of having sort of what is closest to us is most in focus, as opposed to what is further away, again, out of focus, so another sort of contrast that happens there. And that's why I'm sort of seeing this craft that's going in it. Granted that, yes, I too agree that the bottom of the image here doesn't actually enhance the print, but why I'm in silver, and I think it sits appropriately in silver, so have a think, maybe come on up.
Okay, judges, please rescore. Print scores 79. That's 1 extra point. It also means that APA, that could have gone into review. So every point counts. Thank you, judges. Next print, please. And we have a score of 79 by majority. Robin, on 88, please.
Yeah, I'm the silver distinction range. There's such a journey that's going throughout this image for a subject that has so many cold tones. It's presented a really warm and inviting atmosphere. You feel like you just want to walk right up to that little house and be a part of it. And the journey of the Milky Way as it travels across the reverse of how you would normally read an image, with the brightness on the right-hand side and the journey up and through the stars and then back down and into this little homestead. It's been beautifully crafted. The elegance of the structure, it almost looks as if there's a whole planet rising behind the building as well. Quite captivating and interesting. The choice of the coldness within the image, I also find absolutely intriguing. So yeah, I'm in the distinction range.
Okay, David, and then Anna.
Yeah, Robin, it was the coldness that was my initial obstruction in getting me to a silver here. When we look on the stars in the top left corner, top right corner, they are a definite blue, and that sort of led me in going, well, that doesn't sit quite right in reality. It creates a surreal or a hyper reality. And then I was looking at the processing of the Milky Way, and I feel like it's really been given some kind of business. And then it was like, okay, well, if I'm in a hyper reality here, then the selection of the paper choice here as well is also a coded stock rather than an uncoated stock, which might lend it a bit more to sort of trying to be a bit more illustrative. And so they were my sort of blockages to get to me to silver.
And Ms. Blackburn.
This print really does deserve a silver. Maybe a silver distinction is pushing it a bit far. It does. But it's a 79, so I really am hoping that one of you guys will just think, you know what, yeah. The little things that bother me is it would be really wonderful to have a tiny bit more warmth and to also see the glow from those windows on the ground in front of the building. So there are things that can be improved. I don't know if you need quite as much foreground, a little bit of more glow from the building windows, just to get it up there, reprint it. I think it's got... There's a potential gold just hanging in there somewhere. But really, definitely, let's give it a silver.
Robin, your right of reply.
Yeah, I just love the subjectiveness of the whole process, and then what I adore about the image is those cold tones, because it takes you to a different atmosphere, a different hemisphere, a science fiction feel overall. Traditionally, with this style, astro images, you always print on a really, really sharp stock to get the clarity in the actual individual star elements, hence the reason why it's on that instead of a matte paper, because we're trying to bring out those little specular highlights throughout it. And yeah, interestingly, the foreground for me was the journey to get to the building, so yeah, love it. At least a silver, come on guys.
All good comments. We're currently on 79. Let's have a rescore. 83, silver award. Right, I'm not sure if that's an abandoned farmhouse or not, but there's a nice comment about having a light in there, but it may... Oh, there is a light, is there? Yep. Just... Right, yeah. Yep. I'm too far away. Okay, let's have the next print, please. Thank you, Anna. And we have a score of 84 by majority. And that hand was thrust into the air like you wouldn't believe.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Oliver. On 93.
Yeah, look, we've been lucky enough to be taken on this amazing journey. And it starts bottom left-hand corner and just sort of takes us up that first dune. And then, you know, it's just layers of depth where the sun has just tipped those dunes. And it takes us right up to the top and into the top right-hand corner. And it's just a beautiful journey. And the light and shade in this image is perfect. Absolutely perfect. The cool tones working with the warm tones. It's just all there. Yeah, I thought I was low at 93. I'm thinking we're going to be fighting gold distinction here. But no, this needs to come up. Way up. Way up. It's beautiful.
You have a bit of support there from Chris, but Robin, you're at the other end of the scale.
Yeah, undeniable, a beautiful journey of light throughout the image and form and so forth. Perhaps I've just been a little bit spoiled with saturation in the past, and so I was looking for that real oomph, the golden colours that just bounce off the page, and I think that's the element that I was missing, that gorgeous intensity, you know, by ripping your clarification right up, you know, into your 90 so you get the oomph. But I may have, you know, this is the subjective process. I love punch, I love oomph, whereas delicacy, I get there is a place for that. I'm listening.
Okay. Chris, would you like to comment?
Yeah, I mean, from back here, this image has this really strong graphic impact. And when you get up close, you see sort of velvet tones in the shadows. At the same time, you've got this sort of golden tones. And I think it's actually beautifully handled. And then you get up closer, and it just takes you on a journey. The only thing to improve it would be to have some sort of context in terms of size. And I think then it would be right up in gold. But yeah, I think it's just beautifully handled and well executed. So definitely a sort of distinction, goldish range image.
Mm-hmm. No other comments? I'll go back to you, David.
Gold, please, gold.
Okay, let's have a rescore, please, judges. Print scores 88, silver with distinction. And there's quite a bit of movement there too, so well argued. Okay, next print, please. Right, we have a spread of scores, but we have by majority 79. So David, Claresbrook, 89. Let's go for it.
So the initial impact of this print is really stark, that you're drawn in by those really beautiful warm tones, and then you get up there and you see the separation of those warm tones. There's everything from oranges to coppers to browns to bronzes and it's really delicately handled. And you look at the paper choice that the photographer has given us here, and I believe it's a photographic rag or something like that, and that sits really well on here. And then you go, is that an organic piece, or is that actually man-made? Is it some sort of, Aramaic scribing on the wall or something like that? Or is it just a bit of sandstone that's been seen and then been manipulated to try and give us that story and give us that ambiguity and let us follow down the line? So I really enjoy that sort of start to the story they've given us, and then it lets you sort of create your own journey after that. I think it's a really successful piece.
Okay, Anna on 77.
I'd like to be seen through your eyes, because the journey in this print is it's just, I'm not going on that journey. I'm stopped. I'm at the gate trying. It's wonderful to be given a little bit of information and go in there and create the story and get more information and suddenly think, oh my God, this is just amazing. I'm going somewhere. I've got this idea, whether it's the right one or the wrong one, and I'm running with it and I feel great. And you're doing that. And I'm not able to do that here.
Robin?
The extraordinary thing about these images is essentially you've got a fairly typical subject. I'm assuming it's sand or something like that, and it's presented in a very abstract form. And the concept behind it is you're attempting to make a form of pareidolia, so you're attempting to make something into something else. And I've worked really, really hard here to find that other thing within the image, and I just can't get there. Happy to go up to a silver, because I do agree there are moments of brilliance in there, particularly with tone and the copper and so forth throughout. But I'd really need that pareidolia to be speaking to me in terms of a whole picture to get it into the distinction range.
David?
So yeah, that pareidolia that you speak of there. I mean, initially I was sort of going, well, is this man-made? Is it natural? And then I look further here and I see either like a paw print or a footprint that hangs here on the left-hand side of the edge. And you look at how this waves across, and the waves are very seductive and have a flow about them that sort of come across the general sort of flow of the way this image sort of works across the page. And as I said, obviously I get enough to get me started here, and the brain's just gone all over the place here. It's like a squirrel sort of all over the place. I can't sort of get the stories all together, but it asks me enough to keep me engaged here, and I'm sort of scattering around, but still come back to that bright orange point on the footprint right there, almost just left of centre. Still holds me. So yeah, have a little look, and yeah, even if you can come and join me in silver, that'd be really good. Thanks, guys.
Okay, judges, currently we have a 79. Let's have a rescore. And just re-enter your score, because we had an auto challenge in the negative as well. 83, silver award. Excellent. Next print, please. And we have a score of 81, silver award. Now, please, Anna, just a comment on how this may be improved.
The more you look at it, the more you like the colour palette. I'd work a few prints, but it's got that feel of an old Captain Cook sort of book for image, and it's very brave, and I think I don't know if I'd change it.
A light art painting. Please.
One little thing there in the foreground, just off centre left, right in the foreground, there's a little white dot or white little bauble that hangs there. It's a shed, but it's still sheep. Okay, okay, we're in the open category here. That sheep can go, man. It can go, and I think that would have just enabled the simplicity and the zen of the print.
You all agree on that? Yes. Very good. Okay, thank you. Okay, and we'll go to our next print, which I think will be a blank screen while we swap category subsections. Terrific. Okay. That's okay, just hold on a moment. I'm just going to bring up the next set, and we're also going to invite Kylie Lyons into panel chair. Good morning, Kylie. So I'll bring up the next set.
Let's rock and roll. Good morning, everybody. I'm taking over from Mr. Patterson. My name is Kylie Lyons, and I'll be your panel chair for the next section, which is landscape aerial. Good morning, Miss Anna. All right. Have they read the whole preamble? Do we need to know what the preamble is for aerial, or we're happy? We're happy. All right, then. Print handlers, you good to go? All right, let's go. First print, please, in landscape aerial. Sponsored by Camera Warehouse. Camera Warehouse have got some really good lens cloths out there. I know they're good lens cloths. Get one. And also Olympus is here. They keep the Olympus lenses clean too. Yes. OMD. OMG. Thank you, judges. Print has scored 76. Yes, a comment. Thank you, David. We're all very consistent numbers there.
Yeah, we're taking on a journey here, but we don't know where to start this journey. And there is a picture within a picture, right bang in the middle on the left-hand side. And it's so subtle and soft and beautiful, and it's shaped like a tree. And there's the picture. There's the money shot. Whereas on the right, we're confused by the different tonal range.
Right, thank you, David. We'll accept that score. Next print, please. Matthew, how's the dinner tickets going? Any left? There's only 14. And we're going to sit down and we're going to have a 3-course dinner served to the table. You don't have to fight or stand near the door to the kitchen to get fed. Someone will bring you food and take away your empty plate. All right. So if you're in Sydney and want to come to the presentation night tomorrow night, come and see Matthew or get online and book your ticket. I'll be there. I know. Thank you, judges. This print has scored 81, silver award. Yeah, Anna, a comment, please.
The image within the image is really lovely. The figuratives of nature, almost Picasso-esque look. I'm not sure if that yellow pond is too yellow. Maybe that's something to look at.
Thank you. All right, we'll accept that score. Next print, please. Thank you, Chris. Got your score. Print has averaged 86, silver distinction. Anna sounded excited. Yes. Now, we're all, again, very consistent numbers, so perhaps a comment, Anna.
The most beautiful painterly effect. It looks like sky and river and rain, and it's everything's in there. It's just giving me this amazing feel of an impressionist painting, and I wouldn't change a thing.
Wouldn't change a thing. Good-o. Thank you, Anna. Next print, please. And if you've just joined us online, I'd like to know how many people are watching online. I don't know if we can find out. But anyway, we are judging the landscape category. This is the aerial section, and it is brought to us by Fuji. You've got a Fuji, Mr. Bruce. You've got a big one, haven't you? Yeah, once you go... Because once you go big, you don't go back, do you? I know. I know. Can I just say, if you could just see the colour of Bruce Pottinger's face, he's just turned red. Yes. Can we post that? Please post that. Yes. All right, David's scores come in. Print has averaged 78. Hillary? Yeah, David, a comment, please. Thank you.
Just a wee bit too busy, and I think there is a picture there. Bottom left, there seems to be some nice angles there that could be explored and cropped. But we're taken on this journey that sort of starts from nowhere and finishes nowhere. So just re-look at that bottom left-hand corner.
Thank you, David. Cropping sounds like the consistent message here. Oh, and size. Size. Oh, yeah, David, it's worthwhile comment.
The photographer's given us a print that almost fills the map. I think in terms of they've tried to give us a fine art rendition of the landscape, and I feel it just sits a little bit too claustrophobic inside the map. Maybe just come down a little bit in size too.
Thank you. Next print, please. Thank you, judges. This print has averaged by majority 84, with a challenge from David Oliver on 94. David, for your reference, it did average 86, but you have 3 judges in that low 80s.
Yeah, this is just beautiful. It's a fine art, beautiful fine art black and white image that could go any size. It could be a mountain range, obviously it's waves, but the more you look at it, the more you sort of sip with it, and it's soft, it's beautifully well printed. The whites are perfect. You've got this little crisscross in the foreground. Shadow detail is all there, and it's still asking questions. What is that thing on the right-hand side that, coming up out of the beach, I guess, and it's asking questions of us to sort of keep looking at it, and the more I'm looking at this, the more interested I am. I'd love to see this get a high score because it's just so beautifully done. It's so beautifully executed.
David, comment.
Yeah, David. I can't agree that the treatment of the whites. I think the whites are actually a little overcooked in this, but there's a certain loss of detail. Now I know I believe it's foam on a beach or something like we're getting an aerial of this. To help you out, though, I believe that figure in the top right corner is actually a human walking along the beach. So you look at all the footprints, it's actually, and that's largest black there, and I think that's a real sort of like little cherry that's in this. I quite enjoy the cupping that the wave sort of holds us within the image, but I found that the vignetting, I know the purpose of the vignetting obviously to hold us within the image within this cup, but a little overdone for my liking, and I'm looking for that sort of subtlety in that fine art print you're talking about.
Chris, please.
Yeah, it's an image that keeps on giving. If, like, from the back here, you think, what is it? Is it a sandstone pattern, erosion, and so on? Then you get up closer and you see, no, it's a beach. Then you see the little tracks and you wonder what is that? And then you see the person, I think, finally. And that's kind of like the cherry on top, yeah. And look, because of the time of day it was shot, you see the long shadows. And actually, I think that gives it a context. And suddenly you go, oh, it's a beach. So from the storytelling, I think it's great. And plus the printing's beautiful, and it's got the D-max, D-min, the shapes, symmetry. It's got all the components to make it like a graphic element, but at the same time, there's a human connection to it. So I definitely think that sits in a sort of distinction.
Okay, Katie or Anna, you don't have anything to add? Yes, if you've got something to add to...
I wanted to go a bit higher, but it was the question mark over that little figure. I just wish that the photographer had have waited another minute or so, or taken it earlier. I'm not sure which direction they're walking in, but it's just the placement of that figure which I find slightly irritating because it's cutting through the water and it makes it less clear. And I think what this image is possibly lacking is just that extra finessing to bring it up into gold. I can see all the things that you're saying, David, and I wanted to score it higher, but it just needed to be treated a little bit more carefully and subtly to just give it that extra something.
All right, Anna, if you have something else to add.
Beautiful waves, everything everyone said. I would like to see the top of that bit of that sand, those little blacky bits in the top, cleaned up. That is what I keep coming back to instead of the figure. So you've got the figure, which is great, but you've also got all these little clumps of black in the sand, which are shadowed, probably shadow or seaweed or something. And if you cleaned that up, it would really make the figure stand out more. But I'm happy to come to silver distinction.
All right, David Oliver, your right of reply.
Yeah, firstly, apologise to the photographer. I didn't even know that was a figure there. I couldn't quite work out what it was, and I'd had cleaned my glasses as well, but still missed it. But yeah, that is the cherry on the top, that shadow coming off of there, bleeding into the water. It gives you that human element, gives you a perspective now that I can see it's a human. I'd love to see it at least reach silver distinction because of the beautiful capture, the experimentation, I see detail in those whites, David. I don't think they're overdone. That is the foam, and it's reality. So it's there. I don't think that needs toning down. So let's see if we can get a few more points for this print.
Yeah, it won't take much because it's averaging 86, but currently sitting majority 84. So, David, would you enter the number 94 for me on your screen, and our other 4 judges may rescore. Can you just re-enter 94 for me? That's why I'm here. I have all the information. Well, you have to be careful what you wish for. You now have 88, a silver distinction. All right, yes, with one of those lovely lens cleaning cloths. Awesome. Next print, please. I should point out that our current judging panel is David Glazebrook from New South Wales, Katie Kohlenberg from the ACT, Anna Blackman down south in Coaldale, that's near Thirroul, part of, Wollongong area. Then we have David Oliver, who's now up north, Hunter Valley kind of way, and Chris Buchner, northern Sydney. Is it still Wallara? Gordon now. Oh, well. Sorry. Oh, and I didn't mention David Glazebrook's from the mountains. Glenmore Park. Judges, print has averaged 79. There is no opportunity for challenge, so they will win a 79er badge. Love that. Love that. I know. But a comment, Chris, thank you.
It's a stunning subject matter. Unfortunately, it's a print award, and there's some issues with the printing. You've got these lines coming down. So, yeah, look at your printing issues again.
All right, thank you. Next print, please. Hello to all our people in live stream land, and I'm going to send out a shout out to Peter Blakeman, who's listening online. Everyone's saying, hello, Peter Blakeman. Hi. Oh, did you hear that, Peter? No. Peter was here for breakout, I believe. And he's coming for dinner. Good. I want one of them. We're getting up there. Sunday. Most people are probably sleeping in while we're here judging beautiful aerial landscapes at the 2019 AIPP Epson New South Wales and ACT Professional Photography Awards. Thank you, judges. Print has averaged 85. Challenge. Thank you. You don't have to push the challenge button, Chris. I do that. I push the buttons. But I'll accept your challenge. You're at 92. Now, there are two judges in the silver distinction range, an 82 and then a 77. Go for it.
Such a stunning image. I keep looking at it, and I keep wanting to keep looking at it. Like, you just don't tire of it. The pattern, the texture, I don't know what it is, to be honest, but that's what makes the image so beautiful. It's intriguing, it's rich, even though it's such a monochrome palette, and it's just turned a landscape into a piece of illustrative art or graphic design, and that's what I really enjoyed. You have it on your wall as an art piece, and you never tire of looking at it. So that's why I'm giving it gold.
David Glazebrook.
So I saw this in high-end professional practice because I appreciated that attention to detail and the expert printing. We see something here in the dried mud, but I'm not sure what its footprints. I don't know what it is, and I'm just trying to get something else to get me started on that story. And I'm just struggling to get there. So I appreciate the printing and all that kind of business, but if I can get something to really sort of get me into that, then I'm ears, and I'm certainly coming up.
Anna Blackman is itching for the microphone.
The moment I walked up, like from back here, I want to see it as a mural at BHP or something. But the moment I walked up and saw that it was the cracked mud, I see these little swirls. It's sort of like little Loch Ness or snakes or something underneath. So the mud's cracked and dried on top, but there's a whole universe underneath moving. And as it moves, it sort of makes these little lumps. can you see Nessie down there and some snakes and all this whole undercurrent of things happening under there that's really, I know I've got a vivid imagination, but it's really working for me so well. It really is, and I haven't been sniffing Texture this morning. And it's just so still on top, but so much activity I feel underneath. There's something going on. There's a whole microcosm of a different universe under there.
All right. These judges all want to have a chat, so quick comment from Katie.
I'm in the Anna camp for sure here. I was actually seeing it as their little curly bits sort of looked as though they could almost be a reptilian eye that was about to open. And I was excited by that. It captured my imagination big time, which is why I scored it what I did.
All right, David
to hear
Oliver
someone
wants to
else's
have
on
a
the
chat.
Yeah, I mean, we're discussing going into gold here. So I'm looking at this and my eye gets dragged right down into that bottom left-hand corner with the black blob. And I'm thinking it's so subtle. It's beautiful in 2/3 of the picture. And then I'm asking why. Why do we need that big black blob? And I'm held back by that because it's not... It's taken away the subtlety of the image for me. Even though I gave it a silver, and I still think it's worth silver, maybe silver distinction, I'm happy to come up. But we're discussing gold, and that's why I'm asking the question about that blob in the bottom left-hand corner.
All right, Chris, you might be able to respond.
I'm responding first to David. I don't think it's an image that's meant to be taken literally. It's not a landscape. You want to say, yeah, look, there's a sheep farm or something like that, or whatever. This is just an abstract piece of art in this case, and I think that's why this image needs to be rewarded, because it's taken a landscape to an art form. Yeah, imagine this printed massive on a mural, like Anna said. It'd be fantastic. And the fact that everyone has a different interpretation is what makes it so beautiful, because art is subjective. So I think this firmly sits in an art piece rather than a descriptive landscape category. I totally get the slightly darker point at the bottom, and I actually think it's a beautiful counterpoint. It gives you something to take your eye to. So you wander through the image and you kind of rest there, as opposed to just keep wandering aimlessly through it. So I think it's actually a very clever use of a composition to give you this little focal point. So look, I don't see how it cannot deserve gold. Please.
Okay, well, Chris is on 92, and we'll have to sit back for a moment while the other 4 judges please rescore. Bless you. Thank you, judges. By majority, we have a score of 90. Gold. And that's because 3 of our judges scored in that gold range. It did actually average 88, but 3 of you thought it was worthy of going up. So congratulations to the photographer. Let's go next print, please. Thank you, judges. Print has averaged 81. Challenge here from David Glazebrook on 89. You are a bit out on your own, 78, 77, 82, 81. He said nothing's new.
Let's do this. So the scene that we're presented with in a literal format, I believe, is a river delta here, and it's got this flow that sort of comes down. And when you get up closer to the print, there's a real granularity to the print, and that sits really well with the subject matter. We're looking here at a river delta, we're looking at sediments that sort of come down, but then we've got this really muted sort of palette that comes through. We've been shown a lot of restraint here within the palette, and the cross between the greys and the whites is really subtle and really inviting in. And then you look around, you look for a focal point, and right there, just off centre, top left, or in the top left quadrant, I should say, there is a darker point which lets us sort of hold that, and it's not uncomfortably close to the edge of the frame or anything like that. It gives us something to sort of gravitate towards. And the more that you look at this, the more arterial sort of structures that you sort of see building up within this. And I feel there's this real journey that, whilst it's top to bottom, it's not just a straight drop. It has this real sort of subtle, sort of seductive curves that are within this. Hence why I'm at 89.
All right, well, I'll have to ask Anna for a comment on 77.
The curving nature of the right-hand side of the print is very beautiful. And I really would love it to be like that all the way through. But my eyes are just jumping from white bit to white bit to white bit. All those highlights. I can't keep going just around the curve. I want to be that sensual feeling of going up and down and around. If you can't see my hand, that I'm doing the hand gestures. But I keep on just going zoom, zoom, boom, 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 like a little ball stuck in one of those, ping pong balls. And to all the highlights, and that's, disturbing me.
All right, David Oliver, comment please.
Because I'm in the middle between the two of you, so I'm thinking, looking at this image, and I'm addressing both of those views, and you're worried about the highlights. So if this was cropped right in the middle, and you take off that top third, I'm on gold. And you could do the same thing, taking off the bottom and getting rid of that bottom highlight, and again, you've got that beautiful curvature, and that takes you on the journey. And I'm up there in gold again. So I think there's two pictures here, and for it to be gold, I think we've got to take the top off or the bottom off. But there is a picture there within that. There's a gold in this picture.
Okay, thank you, David. Back to other David.
So, Anna, the first curve here, which sits in the right-hand side, is the dominant curve. And so you look at that, and then I come back and go, well, and then what? And I find there's other more subtle curves on the left-hand side. And the longer I look at this and know that this is a landscape, and if we talk about this sort of being Mother Nature, and I look at this curve, that curve on the right-hand side now almost has a very feminine, almost pregnant form to me as well, And so I look at this, it curves off the top of the breast, comes around the tummy, whatever like that. And once I play on that story, I find that quite compelling and quite, as I said, sort of seductive and quite influential. So, yeah, I see how you could simplify it there down, David, in terms of cropping off maybe that top third or something like that, and it would simplify it down. And yes, I agree, kicking it into gold, but I'm asking you for a silver with distinction, so please reconsider.
Thank you, David. Sit back on 89 for a moment. Other judges, please rescore. Currently averaging 81. And it's moved up to 84. Silver award, solid silver. Awesome. Quick judge change. Chris, give you a break. Matthew Vasilescu. Did I say that right? Vasilescu. Oh, didn't have to roll any R's because that's what I can't do. Next print, please. Yes. Thank you, judges. Print has scored 81. Silver. All right. Anna wants more. She's on 86.
The colours in this print are just seducing me, and I know that, maybe people think, everything's a bit too saturated, but I find it the most beautiful, the colour palette, and then bringing in the man-made bits and pieces into that natural scene. And on the right-hand side, this thing that's been made, I have no idea what it is, but it's just the whole balance is working beautifully for me.
David, I'll ask a question.
Yeah, I don't dispute the saturations in there. I quite enjoy that saturation. What I didn't enjoy as much, Anna, was the treatments of the white in that man-made structure. It actually feels like there's a bit of a magenta tint in that there, and also that right structure that almost clips the right-hand side of the frame. Feels rather uncomfortable to me in its placing. If the pan, or there was more in this image, a little bit on the right-hand side, it would sit more comfortably for me.
Matthew, please.
But just an extra little bit to that, yes, that's probably squeezed just a little bit too much on that right-hand side of the frame. But the left-hand side as well, there's execution there that would lift it into a silver distinction. There's that beautiful diagonal line that could finish right into the corner of the mat, and the top side as well could finish right into the corner of the mat, which is just that tiny little bit of detail that will lift the execution.
Lovely, thank you. Anna, right of reply.
Absolutely agree with all of those things. The magenta, it's too tight, all of those things, because I would have just gone gold, stupid big gold otherwise. And I think that I'd just love to see this reprinted, given a little bit more space, work on that magenta, because it's just absolutely beautiful. So that is why I've gone 86. I really wanted to get a really good quality silver, and I want to talk about it and talk about maybe things you could do to make it gold.
All right, good comments, everyone. Anna's score of 86 stays put. Other people, please rescore, or other judges, I should say. Thank you. We have moved 82, Silver Award. Every point counts, absolutely. Next print, please. Scores are coming in, and the print has averaged 74. And I would like to make a comment.
When this print came around, I was very excited about this different view from the Opera House. And just to the printmaker, the photographer, it's not sharp. I don't know what you can do about that, but, you know, clarity, we need some more clarity. Also making it smaller would help.
Okay, thank you, Anna. I'm going to accept that score and ask for a blank screen, please. I believe that is the last image of the aerial section of the landscape. So thank you, judges. All right, just bear with us. We are going to go straight into landscape single capture, and we're going to do some judge changing. Pottinger, do you want to have a go? David Glazebrook, you're out. In and out, in and out. We make it... Let me see. Do you need a break? You feeling good? Or, well, off you go and do your T stops, wee stops, and yeah, get some of the camera electronic, lovely lens cleaning cloth, and clean your glasses. All right, who wants to have a go? Scott, come on down. Do. All right, I'll do some judge changing. So what we're going to do is we're going to have Mr. Bruce Pottinger. Everyone say hi, Bruce. Hi, Bruce. Bruce has got a big one too, and that's the Fuji. Nothing else that I know of. Don't say anything and we won't get in trouble. Katie Kohlenberg is beside Bruce. Anna Blackman's hanging around because she's just loving it, aren't you? She's loving it. Scott Portelli's moved on in. He's not in the Antarctic at the moment, so he's here with us in Jamaica room. That's right. Yeah, it was it was the Arctic down there, Siberia down there, and we're in Jamaica. And then Matthew Vasilescu is here just for a while because we know that morning tea's probably coming up soon, and you'll have to get your trolley. He's a trolley. Oh, I swear, you make a good one too. The way that you walk around, nice straight back. Oh, and he's wearing a beautiful red and white striped shirt. It works so well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are moving straight into the landscape single capture. Print handlers, you good? Greg is my assistant today. He's doing a great job. He's playing piano with these microphones. Let's have the first print, please. Thank you, judges. Print has averaged 79, and all our scores are all about the same. So they get one of your badges, Matthew. Maybe you could give them a comment, please.
The bottom part of the print there, we've got that nice little, the two parts of the Opera House converging and coming together. Probably could have a little bit more space down there just to give it somewhere to sit and anchor at the bottom of that print. And then just the panels, the Opera House themselves, there's sun flare and spots and some green and various casts going on in all of those tiles.
Lovely. Thank you, Matthew. Next print, please. So this is room 1. We are judging landscape single capture. So single capture, for those who don't know, means no retouching that materially affects the original image. And I think in landscape, that's pretty tough. Let's see. Thank you, judges. Print scores 82 is a silver award with a challenge from Anna. Anna's on 87. I will accept your challenge, Anna, please.
Oh, wow, what a beautiful print. Something biblical about it, with the sky coming down and meeting the cloud, meeting the beautiful sun, that sun that's on that cloud, but then that depth of that blue and that cold behind it. And from back here, it's just divine, and up there, it's divine. I just don't understand why it's not a silver distinction. The colour is really warm and really cold at the same time, and it's working. The rule of thirds is fantastic, but where that something biblical is in there, coming down into the earth, and the fog is meeting the clouds. It's just brilliant single capture.
All right, Bruce, could I hear from you on 77?
Yeah, I'm seeing exactly the same, but I'm seeing it at the bottom 2/3 of the image. I'm not seeing it carrying through to the top. The vignette, I feel to go further with this, for me, I would like to see that cropped a little more at the top, which would give more focus on where the action is and where everything that you've said is working for me.
Matthew, do you have anything that you could add to this debate?
I will agree with Bruce in that there is more detail and more depth in that bottom 2/3 of that image. Now, that would enable you to then bring that darkness and that vignette into those top clouds and bring and tighten the entire image up to bring it up into a silver distinction range, because that bottom third of it is gorgeous. It's really
Right,
good.
and a right of reply, please.
I can see how you would just crop that square and make something beautiful too. But for me, the feel of the heavens coming down, I want that space. I want that space to see it all come down, and you're drawn down to that bottom part, just completely drawn down and drawn in, and with the dark blue depth behind, you've just got such a 3D image. So I personally wouldn't make it square, but making it square would also be good. But
All right then.
yeah, both are good.
Well, let's rejudge. Anna's score of 87 stays put. Other judges may rescore. They may adjust their initial score if they wish. And a few of them have, because we now have an 84, solid silver. And every point counts. Thank you, judges. Next print, please. Thank you, judges. Print averages 77, and we all pretty much agree on our scoring numbers. So I might ask Scott, could you give me a comment, please?
Yeah, it's an interesting image. I think the bottom half of the image sort of lets it down a bit. The drama in the sky doesn't sort of complement the foreground.
Thank you, Scott. Next print, please. Katie, did you hit submit? You may have, but could you try again? Thank you. That's in. Print has averaged 82. Silver award. Yeah. And I need a comment. Yes, Anna, you know I love a good comment.
One of the things you won't be able to see from behind me is that there's this beauty of nature, but then at the front, there's what man has done to the nature. I believe the trees have all been felled and a fire has been lit, and it's all just like a bomb site. And it's not until you get up there that you see that juxtaposition, which is why I thought it was fabulous.
Thank you, Anna. Next print, please. she's just gone. Did everyone see Kylie from Nikon? Hello, Kylie. Thank you, judges. This print has averaged 83, a silver award. Lovely. We're going to try two things. I'm going to get a comment from Bruce for the benefit of the audience, and I'm going to change Anna. You've been there a long time. I'm going to give you a break, and we'll bring Robin Campbell all the way from Melbourne, Victoria. Go for it, Bruce. Thank you.
This is a beautiful image. We're talking single capture, and to be able to cover the elements from the foreground right through to the back and being so sharp, it's extremely well done. And the photographers handled the mid-tones beautifully, brought in the highlights, which is really working well, but I love the way it moves back and you can just have another photograph behind. Well done, extremely good work.
Thank you very much, Bruce. Let's accept that score and have next print, please. Don't wreck the joint, Bruce. Oh. So I've just introduced Robin to our panel, but the panel at the moment for this single capture is Bruce Pottinger, Katie Kohlenberg, Robin Campbell, Scott Portelli and Matthew Vasilescu. We are judging the landscape single capture sponsored by Fuji. And we thank all our sponsors, of course, for their ongoing support, not only of our state awards, but our national awards and our institute, of course. Thank you, judges. This print has averaged 83, silver award. I need a comment. I might ask Robin, because you're on 83. Quick comment.
Yeah, the monochromatic, dramatic elements in this image is incredibly striking. To get it to that next level, perhaps the distraction of the clouds coming in through one of those arm elements could be slightly shifted if there's a different frame, so we don't have that movement coming through from the clouds right through the intersection. It would bring it even higher, but definitely solid silver.
Lovely, thank you, Robin. Next print, please. Does everybody here know Kylie from Nikon? Hi, Kylie. And she spells her name properly too, with a L-I-E. I'll just point that out. Numbers are coming in. Just waiting for Scott's. There it is. Print has averaged 86. I'm going to take a challenge from Robin. Challenge. Robin's on 93. You're not alone. We've got 86, 88, and then 82, 81.
The immediate word that came to mind was masterful. We're talking single capture here, so there is an element of difficulty in this as well. The masterful creation of every single monochromatic tone from way to go is all the way through this image. If you were to get a grayscale from white through to black, you would see everything in here in incredible acute detail. Every highlight is beautifully handled. Every shadow, there's detail. Right through to the mountains, there's these magnificent little power lines that go all the way up into the mountains. When you're talking about superb black and whites, it doesn't get any better than this. This is absolutely someone at the top of their craftsmanship, skill and ability to have this much control over an incredibly chaotic, busy environment that has light sources from all over the place, and they've brought it together in this masterful example of control. That's why I'm in gold. It doesn't get any better than this.
Matthew, I'm going to ask you because you're at 81.
I'm at in 81. I struggled first up looking at when I sat back down to score. The monochromatic and black and white tone of it is lovely and it's well treated, but looking at it, the depth in that middle mountain in the second part of the photo, I think there's some more detail there that could come out that would just give us a little bit of story of what's on that mountain before we get to the deep background, which is there. There's enough black and enough deep black in the harbour in the foreground there that we don't need the black in that next mountain, and that road right down the centre and the front of the building is just a tiny little bit hot still. Could come down and give us a little bit more detail in there.
Bruce, you were going yes, yes, yes before.
Yes, this is superbly handled, and I was looking for gold, and I went with you with the black. That held me. I could see detail in there. It was well done. I wanted more. We needed more. If a photographer could just work through that a little more, I think we could definitely. I could put it in gold.
All right, Robin, right of reply.
I'm so excited about this because this is something we're teaching in judges training now, and that is the purpose of solid black. So this is the foundation to the image. So in order to create foreground, midground, background, which we have here, you need that solid base. The black is entirely intentional. Sometimes you have black that is black. This is a journey through every single tonal range, hence the reason why we have whites and why we have blacks. But that base structure that's sitting beautifully on that 1/3 of the horizon is 100% intentional. And we would know if it wasn't intentional if what was behind that was black again. So then it would be like, yep, it's gone. There's no light there. It's completely blah, hasn't been worked. Whereas this has been worked to the point where it's intentionally black to then have lighter colours behind it to give you that perspective and the depth. So entirely purposeful, entirely masterful, and gold.
All right, Robin's score of 93 remains. Our other 4 judges may rescore and may adjust their score if they wish. The excitement in your husky voice there, Robin, has brought this image to gold. 90. Lovely. Good talking. Thank you, judges. Next print, please. Thank you, judges. Print has averaged 75. Comment. Thank you, Matthew.
It's a lovely part of nature that we see in Australia, walking, bushwalking. There's some banding in the print on the right-hand side, so the quality is perhaps not right there. To lift it and lift it higher in professional practice, looking at that printing quality first up.
Lovely. Thank you, Matthew. We're going to do a quick judge change all at the same time. Katie, you've been there the longest. I'm going to give you a little... You have. You're a stayer. Good girl. Swap you with Heath Wade, all the way from Newcastle way. I don't know exactly where, but up north. Newcastle's good. That'll do. Next print, please. Okay, so our judging panel now is Bruce Pottinger, Heath Wade, Robin Campbell, Scott Portelli and Matthew Vasilescu. Thank you, judges. We have an average of 83 silver award. And we all agree. Again, we're all in that nice, solid, compact. I'm going to pick on... Oh, Bruce, you're going to pick up the microphone, give us a comment?
I'd like to comment on this. I think the tonality all the way through that image has been extremely well handled. The highlights have been done well, and I feel that the saturation has just been handled perfectly.
Lovely. Thank you, Bruce. I'm a bit disappointed Naomi's bringing the trolley in, not Matthew. No one's disappointed. Well, what we might do, let's have next print, and then you can have something to eat. All right, see, so getting the pressure. Next print, please. Not now. All right, we have an average of 78. You can challenge if you wish. All right, good, because Matthew's on 83. So Matthew's in the silver range, 5 points away. Now, you're a little bit out on your own. We've got 77, 75, 76, 78.
Looking at the print and looking at the scene, you can see and feel how busy it potentially can be, how busy it often is, and the moment is just seen, captured perfectly, beautifully, squarely. We've got two lovely little Easter eggs on each side of the print to look at that have been dropped there and placed beautifully. There's just so much going on in that to bring it into that nice award range. There's enough things to reward the photographer for walking past it and perhaps turning and going, oh, wow, maybe waiting a few moments, maybe not, and giving us something to look at of an everyday urban scene.
All right. Wade, I'm going to pick on you. You're at 75.
Okay, I love the way this was matted, and initially when it turned around, it caught my eye. Upon closer inspection, though, I was a bit disappointed by the quality. It's a little bit muddy, just not quite crisp enough. And then I found my eye bouncing back and forth between the left and the right, but I kind of was left wanting more. I was wanting to find an extra dimension to it. That's what really held me back.
All right. Robin, do you have something to say to the print?
Yeah, I can certainly see where you're coming from in terms of it's an original capture. And I believe there's an attempt at a social commentary going on here. You've got the boy bike and the girl bike looking out towards different things. There are elements going on there. Unfortunately, when you get up to the print, the professional quality doesn't quite follow through, and I think that's a little bit we're missing off the mark. But I do appreciate there is some clever seeing in this image.
All right, then, Matthew, right of reply.
Yes, there's probably some print quality going on. The right-hand side in particular is maybe a little bit noisy in that respect. But looking at it and adding any other element to it would spoil the print. Putting a human in it, putting anything else in that scene that we're looking at would give us too much to look at. You'd be confused by, am I looking at a human, another element, a bag dropped there, or anything else, or am I just looking at the void up the centre that we're walking up and down those stairs and up and down and coming down and choosing which bike? Are we going to the left? Are we going to the right?
All right then, Matthew's score of 83 stays put, and I'm going to ask all our other judges to rescore. It moves to 79, so we get a good badge. Yay! I'm excited about the badges. I am. Thank you, judges. Quick blank screen for a moment. Judges, would you like to grab something munchy off the trolley? Even our judges in the first reserves, grab something munchy, and then we're going to come back. We are judging the landscape category, and this is the third section, which is the single capture. So images in this judging set haven't really been retouched to the high heavens. No Photoshop work to materially affect the image. No new skies, no green grass, no extra lighting, all that sort of stuff. Oh, look at all these people eating fruit. No, they're not. No, they're eating muffins. Banana in flour and milk and egg and sugar. Lovely. Heavens no. That's all right. Okay then, we're all good to go? All right, let's have the next print, please. Yeah, Greg, I'll have a muffin too. I'll be like the rest of the cool kids. Fruit's too healthy sometimes, or too sugary, depending on how you look at it. Too much fructose. Thanks. Oh, blueberry muffins. Thank you, judges. Print has averaged 81, silver award. Happy? Not happy. He's not happy. Matthew's not happy again. So he wants to challenge. He's on 87.
I want to challenge because we're not high enough at the moment. I think we need to at least come up into silver distinction. We need to hit 85 for this. Again, having seen this image and this style of image, there's just so much going on in that. You're looking at texture, you're looking at some mountains with some puffs of clouds sitting over the top of them. You're looking at a mountain range, or are we looking down at our toes and seeing that in what's in front of us and down in front of our toes? I think we can definitely come up into that silver distinction range and reward the photographer for seeing something that is quite uniquely captured with the texture and what's done in the print and how it's been handled.
All right, thanks, Matthew. We have two judges who are under the award scoring range, which is Bruce and Robin. Do either of you have a comment to make? Bruce, thanks.
The image is beautifully handled. It appears to have noise, but that isn't noise. It's the style of the image. It needed reviewing quite dramatically because I felt that it was noise, but I don't see the story. I'm looking for a narrative. I'm looking to take me somewhere, and I can't find it.
Okay, thank you, Bruce. Scott and Wade are both Heath. I'm looking at this and it just said Wade. I went, okay, all right. You're both on 80, so you're just on the Silver Scott. Do you have a comment?
Yeah, I really enjoy this image. It does have sort of a beautiful palette, and it is quite interesting. You look at it and you're trying to work out what it is. And I do like the grain in it. It is quite beautiful. I definitely am rethinking it.
All right then, Matthew, right of reply.
I do think we all need to rethink it and bring it up and reward the photographer for giving us something unique to look at. The story in it, Bruce, for me and looking at it, is that it is mountains. There are clouds. We're looking at mountain peaks. It could even be leftover snow from the Alps somewhere, with those little puffs of white and things and clouds tipping over the top of the mountains. You know, that's what we're looking at, but we're looking at it in a very unique perspective, from a very unique angle.
All right, thanks, Matthew. Your score of 87 stays in play. Are the judges please rescore? And it's moved to 83, solid silver. Thank you, judges. Next print, please. So just a reminder, landscape single capture is what we are judging here in room 1, sponsored by our good friends at Fuji. I did push the button. I promise. Maybe I didn't. Thank you, judges. Print scores 81, silver award. Now, no challenges visible here, so we're going to do two things. We're going to do a judge change, and I'll get someone to comment all at the same time. Can we multitask? That's the question. Because, Matthew, you're going to go and have a break. So let me see. I'm going to pick on Heath. Could you give us a quick comment? Wayne, welcome to the panel.
Yeah, I was intrigued by this image straight away. I was particularly the tree, and I found the little black cow there a bit disturbing at first, but when I got up and got used to it, I really like it. The only thing I would say was just the highlight on the left-hand side was drawing me over a little bit. Maybe that could be corrected to lift it a little bit further.
All right, thank you for those comments. And we're welcoming a new person to our panel. Hello, Wayne Gibson. Now, hi. Where are you from, Wayne? Central Coast. All these people have travelled from north to west today. M7, M4. Love it. Putty Road. Let's go next print, please. Oh, let me just... I haven't even put Wayne in the system yet. My God. Kylie's slacking off. Sorry about that. All right, now the scores are in and the print has averaged 83 silver award. Yes, thank you. Because all the scores are in that nice solid silver range, so Robin would like to make a comment. Thank you.
Cool. Quirky image, well seen. I think perhaps to take it any higher, you would need to balance the highlights on the left-hand side. But yeah, well done to the photographer for looking up and seeing.
Thank you, Robin. Next print, please. Thank you, judges. Print has averaged 77. Again, very consistent numbers, very tight. Can I get a comment from someone? Scott, awesome, thanks.
Yeah, when this turns around, it's quite a beautiful image. The photographer's done a great job. The highlights in the foreground competing with the image, and a bit of vignetting at the top right. You want to see more of the foreground as well, that sort of rock crop there. I'd probably rethink that.
Thank you, Scott. Next print, please. Thank you, judges. The print has averaged 84. Challenge us. Yes, yes. Be forceful, Heath. Go, yes, because Heath's on 90. All the other judges are in that low silver range, so you might have a little bit of talking, but let's go for it.
Okay, what a majestic play of light and an absolutely stunning colour palette. Beautifully handled, detail everywhere, crisp. My eye just dances around the bottom golden light, and I'm just in love with that, the purpley sort of tones through the trees, and then I end up in that top right-hand corner, just with enough breathing space to make that peak the pinnacle of where my eye stops. I just think it's expertly handled, really strong visual communication through the use of the colour palette, composition. It has real depth and lovely sort of mystical feeling to it as well. I just find it superbly captured technically and creatively, and the lighting is superb. It's worthy of a gold for sure.
All right, thank you, Heath. Bruce, may I get a comment from you, please?
I agree, Heath. It's a beautifully handled image, extremely well handled as far as colour palette. My thoughts are perhaps a little crop to the left may bring in a more eye level through to the through the journey, if you like, round that gold line. So my thoughts are a little crop to the left, a little heavy on the left, and it might bring it in quite well.
All right, Robin is a solid silver on 83. Can I get a comment?
The colour palette is quite extraordinary. The richness and the golden and the purples, really intriguing in a landscape as such. I tend to find though my eyes bouncing away from, I want to be held in this beautiful stream of yellow in the foreground, but I keep bouncing up into the background, and particularly that top right hand corner where it's been sort of oddly burnt in, and I find that very distracting. The top half is probably significantly brighter than it needs to be, and if we just bring that down and our eye can then travel down the base, I think it's a much stronger image. As it stands, I'm having trouble getting it much higher than a solid silver, but I am listening because I appreciate that there is something beautiful here.
Okay. Anything to add, Scott or Wayne, or nothing to add to the comments? All right, Wade. See, I've got Wayne, I've got Wade. I'm looking at names. Heath, can I have a comment? Hey, just don't call me late for dinner, that's all.
I hear what you're saying, Bruce, about the cropping in from the left-hand side. My eye still flows beautifully in that S shape to the top right-hand corner, enjoying all that extraordinary colour, and all the detail is there. And with what Robin was saying about the top right-hand corner as well, initially from back here I thought, oh, that's a bit of some dodgy going on there with the burning in. But it kind of goes with the rest of the misty sort of feeling that's coming off the hills, with the way the light's sort of dancing through the mist there. And I think it's sort of a really appropriate way to end, and expertly guided through that S right to the top of the corner. I think it's just expertly handled, and go for gold, guys, or at least come up to silver with distinction.
Yep.
This is really in that level, I feel.
Thanks, Heath. It is currently averaging 84. So Heath has to sit back and relax on 90, and everyone else may rescore. By majority, the score is 84. Silver award. And FYI, it was 85, but 3 of you judges still stayed in that silver range. But we'll accept that score, and congratulations to the photographer. Let's go next print, please. Thank you, judges. Print has averaged 81, a silver award. Excellent. We're going to do 2 things. Let's see if we can multitask again. Judge change for Bruce, because you've been there a while. David Oliver will take your place. And I'm going to ask Wayne, would you be able to give a comment, please?
Yes. It's a very well captured image of a popular subject. The reason I marked it in silver and couldn't go any higher is I personally wanted to see a little bit more detail, maybe in the top of the frame, or a tighter crop at the bottom. I think it would have lifted it a little bit more for me. All right,
thank you very much. Welcome, David, to the panel. David, Wade Heath. See, it says Wade Heath here, so I keep going Wade. Heath, Wade. Wado. The boy from Newcastle, Wado. Robin Campbell, rose between the thorns at the moment, Robin, but you're doing well. Scott Portelli and Wayne Gibson, and we're judging landscape single capture. Next print, please. And a reminder, if you are a New South Wales member, the awards dinner is on Monday night. That's tomorrow night, isn't it, Greg? Mm-hmm. Today's Sunday. Yep. Tomorrow's Monday. Tickets are $95, and there are less than 14 left now, I've been told. So you've got to get on the AIPP website, book your ticket, and it is a 3-course dinner at L'Aqua d'Alhambra. The wedding photographers know that place like the back of their hand, I'm sure. I've got to yeah, here we go. Thank you, judges. Print has scored 78. Well, I'm going to make you not be Bruce anymore, and I'll let you mount the challenge, David. Thank you.
Yeah, this is sort of a really quirky, well-found urban landscape. You know, we got the 60s style house, we got the door there, and we've got this old couch, and it's asking questions. What's it doing there? You know, and then we've got this little journey around to the old house. It's just a simple, classic little well-found picture, and I'd love to see it at least in the silver range. And maybe we can have a bit more discussion on this, because it's just the simplicity of this picture that works. And it's the photographer's gone fishing, and he's found this little moment, little classic moment.
Okay, Wado.
Okay, I think he's got a great fishing spot here, but wrong time of day. The fish aren't biting for me. There just needs to be a much more interesting play of light to pick up the texture on that wonderful chair. My eye keeps being drawn to that white door in the background as well, but when I go and check it out, it's not that interesting after all. The action is with the chair. I just want to see it like light raking across that, bringing out the texture, and then I would come to the party with my fishing rod for sure. So it's good.
Now, our other 3 judges, do you have anything you'd like to add to what's been said? Yes, Wayne, thank you.
Yes, David, I see exactly kind of the same, but I'm just having a little bit of a struggle with the narrative here, where the chair is such a striking element to look at. I want something to balance the image more, and you're sort of teased with a little bit of detail on the house there, but it's largely concealed by the bushes. So for me, that's why I couldn't go any higher, but I'm certainly prepared to listen.
All right then, David, right of reply.
Yeah, so it's just that subtle journey from the chair, and it's the question it's asking. Just that little bit of detail. You can see this is an old 70s, 80s home that's just is in probably the same condition as the chair, and needs a good pruning. So it's just one of those found pictures. How old's the chair? How long's it been there? But it's perfectly placed as well. And it's not placed, it's there. The photographer hasn't moved it, I hope. But it's just there in that perfect dark area that's highlighting it. And I don't think it needs any stronger light, because it's a lovely cloudy day, so that's why we got the detail in the chair. It's just a simple little picture that's kind of quirky and, jumps out every now and then. It's nothing spectacular. It's never going to get gold, but it's just a quiet little silver.
All right then. It's currently sitting at 78, so it's just under silver. David's score of 86 remains. And the last score is in. Oh, it's one of those ones again. By majority, scores 79. It did actually average 80, but 3 of our judges sat under that award range. So a badge, yay! The photographers won a badge. Excellent, and we wear it with pride. Thank you, judges. Let's go next print, please. Greg, do you know what I find the problem with this landscape category is? It means everybody's gone on holidays. And you see these but you see these beautiful images from all over the world. We're so lucky to do that. Then we have travel. Just makes me want to go on holidays again. Who wants to work? Well, we're lucky in a way that we get to photograph for our business. Scores are in. The average is 84, silver award. Now, no challenges are available, but a comment is required. So you're looking at me, Heath, so I'm going to pick on you. Thank you.
Just like to see some of the printing just lifted slightly. They bring a little bit more detail out of those shadows. They've sort of got a funny colour cast to them, and just a little bit sort of low contrast there, a bit more contrast, but the flow into the image and everything's beautiful. Well done.
Excellent, thank you. Next print, please. Thank you, judges. Print averages 81, silver award. Very good. Robin, could you give us a comment? You're on 81.
Yeah, it's unusual for me to sit right just over the fence, and that's kind of how I felt about this image. There's just enough there to make it special and unique and extraordinary. For APPA, I'd love to see it printed just even more intensity, and the highlight that sits behind that beautiful background mountain with the snow, if we can tone that down, the journey will then stop at the beautiful mountain peaks, which I think is an absolute highlight as opposed to flying out into the clouds.
Excellent. Thank you, Robin. Next print, please. Thank you. I think after this one. Thank you, judges. Print scores 82, a silver award. All right, again, no challenges, so I'm going to ask for a comment, but we're going to judge change at the same time. I've got to swap you out, Scott. You're starting to hit big numbers here, so we'll swap Scott out, and we might ask Wado.
Love the composition of the balloons, beautiful. A little bit of cropping, just maybe up from the bottom. Lift it up from the bottom a little bit, I think would lift it for me.
All right, thank you. Now we're doing our judge change and welcoming Anna Blackman back to the panel. So I'll swap her in and let's have the next print, please. Thank you, judges. Print averages 80, silver award. Anna, may I hear from you, please? You're right on 80.
The print has a beautiful colour palette. I'm wondering if we can get a little bit more detail in those clouds, maybe just the tiniest bit of vignetting to lead us in.
Thank you for that. We'll accept that score and ask for the next print, and we'll also have a panel chair change all at the same time.
And we have a score of 78. We'll accept that score. A comment from Anna, please.
I'd like to encourage the photographer to reconsider a few things here. Firstly, the black mat is not doing you any favours. It has to be reprinted. There's banding, especially obvious. It's vertical banding, especially obvious in the bottom right-hand side. So you need to print again on good paper stock, get a really good printer to print it, maybe bring that colour, make that colour of the sunrise a little bit more subtle, bring the print down. You've got something here that's really quite beautiful.
Thank you, Anna. Very much appreciated. Okay, let's have the next print, please. And we have a score of 79. So very close. So let's have a comment from one of our judges on how this could get over the border into the silver range. Please, Robin. Thank you.
There's a fabulous story here of the cow doing his, walking the tread, and there's a bit of a path there that he's obviously walked a lot because there's no snow on there. Cropping the top and turning it into a panorama would just completely change the dynamic of the image, and your eye would stop bouncing out the top, and then you'd be back in that with that really cool little line that S-curves around the frame. Matte colour, yeah. It's a very warm matte, whereas a clean white matte would mean that the warm tones in the image would jump out more.
Yep. Excellent advice, and there was other judges nodding in agreement there, so fantastic. Let's go to the next print, please. And we have a score of 78. And all our judges are very, very close, all on 78 except for Robin on 77. So how can this print get over the line? David?
Yeah, it's an interesting, well-found picture, and really lovely textures and colour there. But there is some haloing all the way along that journey along the rocks, and I think if that could be addressed, this could do a lot better, and maybe tone down those highlights just a little.
Thank you, David. Next print, please. And we have a score of 82, a silver award. Excellent. But we will still have a comment, though. Thank you, Robin.
For an environment that is often seen as monochromatic, we've got a beautiful range of tones and colours presented through here through found objects, and they've been lined up for us one after another to journey in and back and in and back and in and back within the image. I think the confusion sort of stops though at the clouds. It sort of gets a bit muddy and you kind of want to go back to those beautiful blacks and blues and gold tones.
So where do you end, sort of thing, in the sky? Thanks very much. Next print, please. And we have a score of 79. So another fence sitter. The winner a badge, but one of our judges is going to explain how this could possibly go up that extra mark to silver. Thank you, Robin.
Yeah, mystical, magical, really interesting, and it's all soft and blurry, and there's this little character, and then your eye goes boom to this sharp focused rock in the bottom right hand corner, and all the magic just disappears, and there's a literal found object. Get rid of that, crop it in, turn it into that mystical, magical moment, and you'll be up there in the silver range.
Right, and for the photographer, there's a lot of head nodding in agreement with that, because it looks like a wonderful image. Okay, thank you. And before we go to our next print, we're just going to do a quick judge change. Wayne, I'm going to give you a break and bring in Chris. So bear with me while I do this. And we'll have our next print, please. And we have a score of 76. So we accept that. I'm not going to pick on you, Robin, because you're on 76. But Chris, we've just thrown you onto the panel. How can this be improved?
Look, it has great repetition in the image. Unfortunately, nothing for your eye to sort of rest on. I really want to see some kind of like a focal point. If anything, might even crop down the top and just have just the shapes in the image and see how that looks.
Okay, no other comments, judges? I'll move on. Thank you very much. Next print, please. And we have a score of 82, a silver award. Well done. And a comment, please. Anna, thank you.
It's a beautiful image, and I really loved it. The crypt has a special hairdo in the background. It's sort of it's really quirky. It looks a bit. I think it's just the snow or ice that is making it look like it's been sort of desaturated in the background, which maybe you could work on that a little bit because there's sort of partly desaturated. And I'd wonder, it's leaning to the left, it's tilting a little bit. You need to, isn't it? Yeah. And even there's a tree just on the very left-hand side that's a little bit too obvious. So I just muck around with this because this could really, there's a gold lurking in there, I think.
The shed with its fascinator. Okay, next print, please. And we have a score of 81, a silver award. And a comment, please. Heath, I was about to call you Weath.
Got some troubles today.
Kylie started it.
Striking colours straight away. To take me up further, I'd like to see the tree sharp. A little bit more definition.
Okay, thank you very much, judges. Next print, please. And we have a score of 85, silver with distinction. And a comment, please. Thank you, Anna.
There's such a serenity here. It's really the colour palette, the serenity. It's very graphic. I just think it's just this little piece of Australian landscape, and it's not even one with something dramatic in it, but it's still just working so beautifully. It's just calming in nature and very, very lovely. And I'm so glad I got a silver distinction.
Right. If no other comments, I was going to pick on you, Heath, you were out of the scoring range.
It's a bit harsh, sorry.
Oh, okay. Very good. An absolute and a confession there that's greatly appreciated.
I just, as far as changing something, I don't want to change anything, so I really can't. I don't know how to get this to gold. I think that it's beautiful where it is.
Thank you, Anna. And Anna was on 87. So let's have the next print, please. We have a score of 78. So print will stay at 78. Anna, if you could make a comment, please.
The beauty and the wonder of this print is in the bottom 2/3. We don't need the sky. We don't need that. I just chop that right off and just bring it from the cascade down.
Okay, thank you very much, judges. Next print, please. And we have a score of 83, a silver award. But wait, there's more. We have green lights everywhere. And we're going to take the positive green, which is Anna on 88.
Wow. You know, when we take photos of landscapes, we have a certain way of thinking, as our brain works a certain way as humans. And to actually see this quirky image, which is a bit of what's happening over the hill, just the top of the barn and the top of the house. It's so quirky and so interesting and so different. I think it's been so well seen, and seen just a teensy-weensy bit of that roof of the house. And you still get to realise it's a farm and there's I don't know what they are, something's been grown in front. But just, I think to have the imagination to look at this concept and think this is going to work is really worth, awarding.
Okay. Chris, could you comment on 78, please?
I was probably a bit harsh. I mean, the print is handled beautifully. What really I find actually distracting is the little roof of the house. There's just not enough there to tell you what it is. And I love the barn. The barn's fantastic. It's sharp, it's crisp. It gives you that sort of like context. I just find the house distracting.
Okay, I'm going to go to Dave. Yes, to David next on 86.
Yes, I would have gone gold on this because, like Anna said, it's the quirkiness of this image. It wants to make you sort of wander over that hill to see the rest of the building, and it's asking questions. The one thing that held me back was the sky. Plain white, oh, wow, we would have been jumping out at gold distinction. I just think that the cloud formation is the distraction, so that location is unbelievable. I would go back and revisit that with a plain sky, and I think it would go all the way.
Okay, I'm going to let Robin go, and then we'll have Heath. So we'll all have a little chat on this one.
Yeah, I'm jumping up to the distinction range. Gosh, I'd love to see this reprinted as a gold. And I'm the same. Just get rid of the sky and just turn it into. So when you say lithographic, that sort of lithographic feel, and you just feels like little pencil drawing lines. And I think it would just go gold in a heartbeat. All the quirkiness and the materials there just needs that little bit of extra oomph to take it into the slightly surreal realm.
Okay, and Heath on 78.
The quirkiness is, yeah, love it. I'm with Chris. I was held back by the little building on just not being able to see enough on the left there. I think I agree with him too. I might have been a bit harsh as well. It's beautiful print.
Okay, we're going back to Anna. You're right to reply.
Thank you, guys. You just really all said positive things. The sky, yeah, you could do exactly what you were saying, or even just make it a little bit more panoramic with the clouds would probably work well too. But just how inquisitive are we? We just want to see what's over there. It's just been, I just doing my head in. It's got to be a silver distinction, guys, please.
Let's have a rescore. And the print score's 87, silver with distinction. Don't you love a good debate? Okay, eyes forward. Next print, please. And we have a score of 80, a silver award. Heath, you're on 80. Would you like to make a comment, please?
I was really torn here with this. I found it a little bit disturbing. And I thought, well, I should reward it for that because I have a reaction to it. So, yeah, it's an unusual print and well seen by the photographer.
Okay. Anyone else like to comment? No, we shall move on to the next print, please. And the print scores 80, a silver award. And I'm going to pick on you, Anna, on 80. How can this go higher?
The separation between the sky and the final mountain is only just there. And I was thinking maybe if it just give it just a little bit more separation, but then I thought, you could panorama it a bit more and forget about that top ridge so that we spend more time where it really matters.
And no other comments? That's quite all right. And we'll go to our next print, which I believe that was our last print. So that is... That concludes the landscape category. Just like to thank our sponsor Fuji, fantastic supporters of the AIPP. So let's get out there and support them as well. And of course Epson, who are the major sponsor for all the state awards. They've been fantastic sponsors of the AIPP. So let's get out there and support them as well. Thank you, judges. Thank you, linesmen. Thank you, print handlers. We shall be returning shortly with the portrait category.